John Martin was one of the most popular painters of his time, yet unfortunately, he is not a name most people recognize today. Although his paintings were widely celebrated in his era, his work may be more relevant now than ever before. To me, he is one of the few artists who truly captures what it means to be mortal in an apparently immortal universe. Every time you look at one of his paintings, it makes you feel small and insignificant. Martin painted what today we would call Cosmicism, but he referred to it as apocalyptic scenes. His works are violent, confrontational, and raw, a testament to what will come when we no longer make this world our home. John Martin came from a relatively humble background in the north of England. He worked for a time as an apprentice coach painter and later studied under Boniface Musso, a respected painter of his era. He supported himself and his young family through his artistic talent, giving drawing lessons and painting on glass and porcelain. The rugged landscape in which he grew up would later shape his dramatic scenes, as would the other dominant force in his life, Christianity. But far from being a simple painter of religious subjects, Martin, at least judging by his work, seems to have held a conflicted view of our relationship with God, and a surprisingly modern one too. A series of tragedies struck Martin throughout his life. His mother, father, grandmother, and young son all died within less than a year. In 1829, his brother Jonathan attempted to set fire to York Cathedral, one of the most famous cathedrals in England. He narrowly escaped the gallows by pleading insanity and was imprisoned in the infamous Bedlam, where he would take his own life in 1838 after their father's death. Although he eventually achieved success, Martin's life was marked by tragedy and the intense religious fervor of the Old Testament. These events were deeply traumatic, yet they helped shape one of the most extraordinary artists of his time. He was a cosmicist even before the term existed. Now, the idea of cosmicism is commonly associated with H.P. Lovecraft, but it has evolved through numerous works into something distinct of its own. It is a kind of belief system rooted in atheism. In cosmicism, the gods generally exist in the infinite void. Some may wish to harm us, but most simply do not think about us at all. We do not deserve their infinite time. We are too small, too insignificant. It is a worldview that captures the horror of a boundless, limitless universe. It may seem strange then that I would call Martin, a deeply religious man, a cosmicist as well. After all, while a Christian may believe in an infinite, incomprehensible, and sometimes cruel universe, it is still one watched over by a benevolent God. But this is where the contradiction in Martin appears. His paintings do not portray an intimate closeness between humanity and God. Instead, they suggest a rupture in that relationship. Nearly all of his works are apocalyptic, and they seem to tell us that we have gone too far. The terror in Martin's cosmic vision lies in the way he depicts humanity abandoned to its destruction, with the universe finally unleashed before us. Before we continue, I would like to remind you that if you would like to have a John Martin painting in your own collection, you can now purchase it directly from our website. In our catalogue, you will find a collection dedicated to him and many other artists, so you can begin building your own art collection. The video you are watching is an example of how you can turn your home into your own personal museum, or even get a phone case and carry a masterpiece with you in your pocket every day. I will leave the link in the description so you can place your order once you finish watching this video. Now, let's continue. Most of Martin's paintings draw from the Old Testament, yet the way he renders them is entirely his own. It is not simply God purifying the world of sin, but God exterminating us himself. Take, for example, the great day of his wrath. What is striking about the image is not only the destruction, but the fury behind it. Lava erupts from the earth, a mountain collapses, a city is completely pulverized, and at the lower center, men and women are swallowed by the jaws of an abyss. Even for the day of judgment depicted here, the violence is overwhelming. I believe it says something about Martin's understanding of God. For him, God is the only force holding the universe together, yet the men and women shown here have pushed him too far. An even starker reminder of our fragile relationship with the divine can be found in Sadak, In Search of the Waters of Oblivion, and Ruins of an Ancient City. Both are masterpieces of composition and light, yet each seems to speak of a world without God. There is nostalgia in ruins of an ancient city, a reminder that what we once possessed has now been lost, deeply resonant for a man who had lost so much. In Sadak, in search of the waters of oblivion, the hero at the lower center appears exhausted and broken, dwarfed by what lies ahead. In both scenes, God seems absent, as though humanity has been abandoned to its fate, left either to fade into fragile memory or to decay into wrath and ruin. Two of Martin's most famous works perhaps best represent the rupture between God and man, Belshazzar's Feast and Pandemonium. The fall of Belshazzar is an Old Testament story in which the prophet Daniel predicts the Babylonian king's death that very night. The Tower of Babel looms menacingly in the background. The word of God burns on the left, juxtaposed with the soft light of a Jewish menorah on the right. God's anger is subtle here, suggested only by a faint beam in the upper left, a detail Martin often includes in his works, yet his vengeance is swift and Babylon will fall. Pandemonium is even more fascinating. Inspired by Paradise Lost, it depicts the infernal city of Pandemonium, with Satan presiding over his dark council. Pandemonium is arguably Martin's finest interpretation of Paradise Lost, especially because the city and perspective he chose inevitably remind viewers of the Houses of Parliament in London. There is already a full video on the channel analysing this painting in depth, so I invite you to watch it if you want a deeper exploration. What is crucial in both scenes is the unprecedented shift and the role of God. He appears wrathful and imposing in Belshazzar's Feast and entirely absent in Pandemonium, perhaps as Martin himself must have felt at times. As a child, Martin grew up during the turbulence of the French Revolution and witnessed the intensification of colonialism in India and the Napoleonic Wars. Perhaps he could not abandon his faith in God, but he questioned God's faith in us. Many of his paintings depict divine wrath, or humanity wielding divine power, such as the seventh plague of Egypt and Joshua commanding the sun to stand still. Today we like to think our universal nihilism is unique. We congratulate ourselves for recognizing that we stand at the mercy of the universe, one asteroid away from extinction. But John Martin challenges the idea that this is a modern notion, or even necessarily a scientific one. More than 175 years ago, he dared to paint the answer to a haunting question. What if God no longer had faith in us? Thank you for watching the video all the way to the end. I would truly love to hear your thoughts about this artist in the comments, and let me know which painting or engraving is your favorite. Thank you for your support, and I will see you in the next video.